Hello and welcome. Let's have a seat and start to unwind our spine. Grab a block. Grab a couple of blocks. Actually, if you don't have them with you, hit pause, meet me back here with a couple of these. Have a seat. Have a seat. So we're going to start by taking the head over the hips, with your chest lifted, close your eyes. Take 4 deep breaths. In and out of the nose. Breathing in, nice and smooth. Long, big long exhale. Making your exhales longer than your inhales, what it does is it puts you in your parasympathetic nervous system. So it calms some of the anxiety and some of the thoughts. All right, now blink your eyes open and take a nice deep breath. Interlace your fingers, draw your arms up over your head, lift your chest to the ceiling. Relax your arms down by your sides, exhale. Excellent. All right, so we're going to start today's practice off with leaning to the side just a little bit. The other arm comes up and over. Big, nice, deep stretch. Instead of kind of collapsing through this bent side, lift up through the spine and then arc over. Inhale, lift up here. And reach over to the other side. Again, avoid collapsing here because we don't really want to cut off energy. We want to create energy up and through the arc. And then lift up here and relax your arm down. Let's take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. All right, so this practice is going to open up the hip joints. It's going to open up the spine, give you some length in your low back, some relief if anything's a little tight, and also in the hips. So we're going to get started with a little bit of forward folding. And we're going to forward fold for quite a bit today because this helps unwind anything going on in the hamstrings. And anything also in the back. So to do this forward fold, we're going to bend our knees and place the ribs right here on the thighs. And you want to bend your knees so much that your rib does touch your thighs. So even if you have tight hamstrings and you need to bend your knees a lot so that there's not a lot of pull in the hamstrings, you want to bend them a lot and let this connect right here. Shift your weight into the back of the heels and let your head completely drop toward the floor. You can even take your fingertips and kind of rest them behind your heels. That helps keep the weight in the heels. And breathe. We're going to stay in this position for about 30 seconds, so make sure you're nice and comfortable here and you really allow your body to just let go. Shake your head no a few times. Make sure that neck is completely relaxed. Now we're going to do another variation of this. We're going to take the heels about 4 inches apart and your feet will be turned out, your toes turning out, like Charlie Chaplin. And then shift again your weight into the heels. And we're going to stay here and breathe. Now turning your toes in toward each other, So you're like pigeon-toed, pigeon-hipped. And we're gonna come back into the heels again, shifting the weight into the heels. Hold and breathe. Stay connected right here. Rib to thigh. Gently push your heels apart, get a little traction there. Outside of the hip wakes up. And you were holding these for a long time. We want to give the muscles time to relax and strengthen at the same time. You want to give your vertebrae time to decompress, as we're creating a little extra space between your vertebrae, or those discs to rehydrate. One more breath. And then gently walk your hands out forward and your feet back so that you come into a down dog position. Remember to take your shoulder blades and slide them towards your hips. Open up at the neck. And then rotate the crease of the elbow forward and shift your weight into the heels. Even if your heels are above the floor, you can still create that shift backwards. Good. Now walk your hands up towards, what would be your feet? Walk your feet up towards your hands. And then come up with a straight spine. Exhale to stand up. Oh, and a quick tip. Exhale every time you get out of a chair, or exhale every time you stand up. That'll keep you from getting lightheaded when you stand up. We're gonna grab two blocks. We're gonna release the neck gently here. So one of them is gonna go between your elbows and one of them is gonna go between your hands. With the one between your elbows, you're gonna have to squeeze a little bit so that you can keep it in place. And the one that's in your hands, you want to imagine that you're going to rip it in half down the center. So there's a squeeze and pull action. And we're going to take the head and turn it to the right and tilt it to the right, and then take some deep breaths and keep squeezing and pulling. Keep squeezing and pulling. And then take the head back to the center. Go ahead and make your way to the other side. Look and tilt, squeeze and pull. Shift your weight into the back of the heels if it's not there already, and feel your abdominals slightly engage. Feel your quadriceps slightly engage. Release the squeeze and pull. Little shoulders today too, right? And then gently come out. We're going to go into a wide leg forward fold. So legs are wide. You want to make sure you're slightly pressing out through your knee, that your knees don't come together when you come in. So it should look like this. Knees press apart. All right, I'm gonna flip myself to the side. You might flip yourself exactly the opposite so you can see when you let your head go, you can see between your legs. So from this position, get nice and juicy. So again, you don't want a ton of stretch in the hamstrings, but they should have let go of that last exercise. So we're gonna be, go ahead and bend your knees a little bit and pull your upper thigh bones up into the hip sockets. And that's gonna straighten the leg. So you wanna straighten the leg with your muscles, not your knee joint. Pull those thigh bones up. One more time, nice little bend. Pull the thigh bones up into the hip sockets. Beautiful. All right, now we're gonna do a little twist and release here to get the spine relaxed. So we're gonna reach that right hand around the outside of the left ankle. Thumb into the crease of the thigh. Let's twist and relax. twist and relax. And if you go slowly, you can feel a lot more, but it's certainly, you can speed up just a little bit. I'm really enjoying the slow twist. So it's a twist and a release, and you just keep twisting and releasing. Shift the weight into the heels if it's not there already. And breathe in and out of your nose. Now come back to the center. Take a nice deep breath. Bend your knees again. And then pull the thigh bones up into the hip sockets. And make your way over to the other side. Left hand comes to the outside of that right ankle. You're welcome to just rest your hand right here, that inguinal crease if you wish, and start your twist and release. And because we are usually upright, gravity presses on the spine in the opposite direction of what it's doing right now. But right now we're getting a lot of decompression, also with some twist here. It feels so good to make more space in your body. More space for rehydration of the vertebral discs. It sounds so kind of scientific and cold, but what it really means is that you're making more space for comfort and restfulness and ease in your back. Let's go ahead and come back to the center. And then again, one more time, bend those knees. And then lift the thigh bones up into the hip sockets. Beautiful. Right, now crawl your hands forward, step your feet back, going into another little down dog here. Take your shoulders, move them out apart from each other, or slide your shoulder blades down towards your hips. Kind of the same way of accomplishing the same task. Rotate the crease of your elbows forward and take a nice deep breath. Shift your weight into the heels. And then set your knees down. Have a seat on the floor. Cross your legs in front of you. We're going to go through a little series today, so sit up tall. This was inspired by a private client of mine. And we've been working on opening up the hips and how the hip and this low back connect to each other. So we're going to start by reaching out with your right arm. Reach your right arm out to the right until you feel a nice little pull. And then we're going to start twisting, twisting, twisting. And breathing at the same time. Keeping your lips closed helps you breathe efficiently. If you hear the sound of your breath in the throat. And keep this continuous breath in and out. You can kind of hear that little whir in the back of your throat. That is Jai breathing from yoga. We also call it victorious breath. And as you become more practiced at it, it becomes a little bit more silent. Let's sit up tall. Take a nice deep breath and let the tissue relax on the exhale. All this tissue right here on the back. All right. So we're going to be going to this same side, going your head towards the same side. So we're going to reach this right leg out. Now, instead of trying to reach the right leg out as far as you can, I want you to take your upper thigh, bone, the upper part of the femur, and pull it in. Pull it into the hip socket. Now, if your hamstrings are really tight, you're going to want something to help support you here. Now, this is the case if your glute medius is weak, you probably won't be so open here on the floor. So I'm going to show you some adjustments that you can make. I'm going to show you two props that I normally use and how to use them. So if you have a lot of pull in the hamstring here, you pull this in, right? This also helps if you're hypermobile. You always want to have this pulled in. You always want to have this tension in the muscle here in the upper thigh. And if your hamstrings are tight, you also may want to support yourself with a block here so that your hamstrings don't pull so much. If this is a little too much support, you can get a little less support with these. I use these yoga tune-up balls for a lot of stuff. Or maybe you have something lying around that's a little less than 4 inches high. And you can support your leg this way. Regardless if you have anything under your, kind of like the upper part of your knee here or not. We're gonna go to the side. So it's a side bend. What happens a lot is I see this or this, I want you facing towards me. All right, here we go, over the side, reaching, stretching. So you may or may not touch your toes. That's a big stretch if you touch your toes. So if you are really open, you're welcome to touch those toes. But if not, you'll have the arm up here and your twist and release should look like your chest and your belly button twisting. The first thing that we humans want to twist is our neck. And that is just a neck twist, but we want the spinal twist. So I'm going to suggest keeping your chin right over the center of your chest so that you can get this full twist, full twist. Keep breathing in and out of your nose, and don't go into too much stretch. It's better to back off and have a little bit more spaciousness than a big pull. You want a gentle pull. And then here, inhale and lift up out of this position. We're going to go into another position. This leg is just going to simply rotate around your body. So you're in like a hurdle position, like you're jumping over a hurdle. You want to pull this thigh in towards the hip socket a little bit. This thigh, make sure it's pulling in and you have some tension in the upper thigh here. And then we're going to do the same style of exercise, going over and twisting and releasing, twisting, releasing. Again, support yourself. If it feels stretchy, feels real stretchy, go ahead and put something underneath to support you with this. And then on your next inhale, sit up nice and tall. And then we're going to fold this leg in one more time. Pull this thigh bone in. We're just doing it every time. We're going to pull that thigh bone in and create a little tone in the muscle here. Twist, release. So the second time we go into this one, you'll probably find you have a little bit more spaciousness also. And today we're really working on the connective tissue, aren't we? So this is your fascia that we're working on today. Opening the hip, opening that low back. Deep breaths. On this inhale, lift up. Cross your legs. Sit nice and tall if you can. Take your weight into the back of your hips so that your head stacks over your hips nicely. You can use a little support here. If this position, your hip flexors may be tight or something may be pulling you, just kind of notice where that is. You can always use the hands here for support. That's it, very good. So we're gonna do all of this to the second side. Scooch myself a little bit so I can stay on the mat and reach the left arm out this time. Twist and release. Remember that you keep your chin centered right over the center of your chest. You can also place your hand on your heart. Excuse me, if you notice that you are tending to twist your neck instead of your spine, place your hand over your heart, and that will give you something to look at the floor, look at the screen, look at the floor, look at the screen. Yeah, you got it. Lift up nice and tall, take a nice deep breath. And then reach your left leg out to the side. We're going to take this hip, we're going to pull this upper thigh bone in towards the hip socket. We want to keep our joints nice and safe. We need a little tone in this upper thigh, especially if you have hypermobility. Don't go to 100%, never go to 100% if you have that going on. Remember to support yourself with a block or some prop, just to give yourself a little support here if you feel a lot of pull in the hamstrings. We're going over, up and over to the side for a little twist and release. You can do whatever you like with this arm. This arm tends to want to come through over here on the side, so I'm going to allow it to. Another area that it likes to go is here. Remember that you don't have to grab those toes. You can be out here, you can be up here. Same exercise. And then what happens over time is, and the reason I can get low, I've probably done this a few more times than you have, and that's the reason that I can get down here, is that I've been working on this for a few years. Lifting up on an inhale, and then reaching this leg around so you're in hurdle position. Remember, going head to knee. So pulling this upper thigh bone in. Allow your sitting bones to lift you up and then come over. Beautiful. All right, twist and release here. And this is just a variation of a yoga pose called head to knee pose. Several variations, and we're adding a little flavor to it to get the low back and the hips open. And then lifting up, inhale. We're going to take this leg around again. You got it. Coming here. This time it might feel a little bit more open, checking for that thigh bone coming in and tone in the upper thigh. Here we go, to the side. Twisting. And lifting up, inhaling, coming into your cross-legged position. You can go ahead and grab a block this time and just slide it under your hips. And sit tall. Sit with your head over your hips. And take a nice deep breath. And my recommendation is just to sit here for 5 minutes. After that, we're releasing a lot of things that have been maybe emotional things that have been in the hips. So it's really great to just be here for a little while, head over the hips. Just close your eyes, and I invite you to just focus on your breath, to meditate for 5 minutes and let your body luxuriate in the openness and everything that's releasing and relaxing right now. It's a pleasure being with you as always, and stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button when you get a chance so that you make sure that you get our next practice. So in the meantime, take really good care, and I'll see you soon.